A very good afternoon to all of you. So we are going to the next instruction course titled How to Build a Smart Hospital Practice. So I'm Dr. Sanitha Satyan, the Chief Instructor. And basically, I think there has been a mass walkout from the previous session, but I understand that those who are here in this hall are really keen on the subject, and I hope that more people will join us. And this instruction course focuses on the journey towards building a hospital practice which is smart and efficient. So we have a very distinguished faculty here. I welcome Dr. Marine Paul, Dr. Matthew Kurian. You can occupy the seats here. And myself and Dr. Charu are other instructors. So we are hopeful that an understanding of these topics discussed here will help in a more authentic and kind of rooted growth of our institutions. So we also have a panel discussion towards the end. So we'll start. There is a slight change in the order of presentations because of other commitments. So I first request Dr. Marine Paul to present her talk on networking and marketing in hospital practice. Dr. Marine Paul is a renowned cataract surgeon and a practitioner based in Thrissur. She needs no introduction. And over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Sanitha, for giving me this opportunity. And when she gave me this topic on networking and marketing, I went through it with the marketing people in our institution, and also looked up a couple of things on the net and realized that we are actually looking at a huge, how would you call it, a huge speciality on itself. This is what people go for a 2-year MBA for, right? And we are finishing that in 12 minutes. So, at the outset, I would like to tell you all that what I'm going to talk to you about is core, marketing and management techniques. You, as doctors, are not really meant to be doing all this, but you need to know this because most of you are now and into the future, even in government institutions, will be managed by people who know management, and they will throw jargon at you. And when at that point, but remember, you are the leader of the team, not them. So when they are throwing jargon at you, you need to know what they are talking about. And unless you have a fair grasp of the subject, it becomes difficult. So why do we have been a community-based, individual doctor-based practice all these years, and now in the last 10 to 15 years, those things have changed, and there is an ongoing demise of the community practice. There's a lot of choices for patients, they are you, if not the other. And that leads to increasing competition. And we have a kind of conflict in our minds because we have taken the Hippocratic Oath, and at the same time, you have, like I said, the MBA sitting on top of your head asking for target-related outcomes. And also the fact that what we were practicing was personalized medicine. It's moved on to protocol-based, mechanized medical care. And this also has affected the way we practice medicine. So what do you mean by networking? Because you finish your post-graduation or your fellowship and you move on to start working in a hospital. But to know your rights, your responsibilities, to be fully integrated into the community of ophthalmologists or whatever profession that you are in, you need to be in contact with other people in the same profession. So for that, you need to nurture and make connections within your professional network. And that is what networking basically is about. But also, we deal with the surgical industry, the pharma industry, so you need to have connections with them as well. If you want to do research, say you want to go into a multicentric research, you should know those people for the first, the first step to take to go into a collaborative effort. You need to know them. So again, that is also networking. So how do you go about doing this networking? This is what you're doing now, attending all these conferences, focus groups. That is where you meet people who are on the same page as you or have the same interests. Now I'll be moving on to a few, like I said, specific marketing techniques, which when we talk marketing, what we mean by marketing, what is advertisements and those kind of things. But conventional marketing and healthcare marketing are completely two different kettle of fish. Because healthcare marketing is guided by strict ethics. And so this is where I am telling you, you need to know what you should be doing so that you, because the MBAs who are managing this don't know this. So you are the ones who are going to be guiding them to do all this. So it has to be guided by strict ethics. And your main challenge when you're marketing your services, your hospital, is to build a trust within the community. And that is the main challenge. Like I said, because it is like, if you do one eye here, I'll do the other eye free. No, that is not the way to, build trust. And incentive models, even though are being done, are not the best way to go about. Because you are undermining, it's like, cutting the branch you're sitting on. And ultimately, your marketing relies heavily on the quality of products or services that you are putting across to the consumer. While conventional marketing is not bound by any of these restrictions. Now, healthcare marketing has changed to a large way from conventional marketing techniques to an online or a digital type of marketing. And what happens when you invest money in marketing, in healthcare marketing, and without healthcare marketing is what I have tried to show in this slide. You don't get market research. You just spend money on, say, advertisements or this thing. You have no feedback as to, are you getting your bang for your buck? And you have so much data, so you know exactly where your marketing is going. So this is where you need to use your MBAs to work out those data and get you all those Excel sheets back to you. And once you have an online marketing machinery in place, patients have easy access to you through your website, your social channels, etc. And you can attract more patients with much less, online marketing is far cheaper than regular marketing. And you also get feedback. So how do you go about doing it? What are the ethical ways of doing it? So how do you highlight? So you can highlight all the feel-good stories that come from your hospital, your area of specialization, and even medicine in general, modern medicine in general. Highlight all the success stories. Talk about the positive news, which you can just highlight those. Something comes in the newspaper or in a YouTube channel or something, you can tag it and share it on your social media handles. If you are big enough and have a budget for a CSR, that's a great way to market yourself. And putting information out is one of the most critical, and it has to be like local or even hyper local, and you can add value to the information that you're putting out. And how would you what will you market? You can also market the expertise of your staff with all the latest technology devices that you have. You can say what sets your infrastructure up, differently. What do you have better than the other hospitals that is acceptable? And if you have accreditations, either national or international, that's also something which you can highlight. And specializations, like you have a pediatric ophthalmologist or any specializations in addition to the routine that you have in your hospital can also be highlighted. And employee engagement is a way, it was a fun way, like you have celebrated a birthday or an event in your this thing, put it out on Facebook. Now let us come to the bare bones of what marketing is all about. This is called the STP process, where they segment a whole demography is segmented into sections. Like these are young people, these are people with this kind of interest. So the demography is segmented into multiple segments. Then each segment is specifically targeted with a particular kind of information. And finally, with that, you position your product or your service. So once you have that, you have to devise the marketing strategies for that particular segment that you are targeting. So you can't just market to a whole general population. So once your target audience is identified, you establish an online presence. One very good way, no matter what you say, patients are much more happier to hear from other patients. So actively go behind patient testimonials. And you can also build partnerships. You can partnership with other, like, because we are exclusive, mostly are exclusive eye hospitals, you can partner with other healthcare institutions like multi-specialities or, group practice. These are all like possibilities that you can think of. You can have ethical relationship with pharma companies to subsidize or, help out with, corporate social. They also have CSR activities. So, those cross subsidies can be done, and also engage with local community organizations. But at the end of it all, your approach should always be patient-centric, because patients should be at the center of your entire marketing exercise. And always try to measure the satisfaction the patient is getting out of, get feedbacks from the patients. And like I said before, the best marketing technique is providing excellent service. And number two, having a line of communication with your patient, because lot of misunderstanding is because of poor communication. So work on your communication skills. Learn how to talk to a patient in times of crisis, in times there is a problem. Think about it, practice it, and then you will be able to, imagine that you have had a, nucleus drop. How will I tell this to this patient? Think about it. Then you will know how to communicate the bad news better and in a more positive way. So finally, technology in healthcare marketing, like I already told you, there are a lot of digital marketing tools, telehealth services, and ultimately all this is about data. If you have enough data, you know where your marketing is going and what is happening with the money that you're spending on the marketing. So finally, it's very important when you say social media, that's a very, very generalized term. So what are people doing on social media? First, you have to understand that. So basically, the idea of sharing, all these WhatsApp groups and Facebook, etc., etc. So what people want is like they want to, bring valuable content, or they share this valuable content. And this defines themselves. They say, okay, I am this guy or the girl who's like, sharing this kind of particular type of information. And this is a way for them to stay connected, and it fulfills them personally on an emotional level. And also they do it to support brands and causes. So basic content matrix of what is there on digital marketing is it has to be either entertaining, inspiring, educational, and convincing. These are the core ideals of the marketing strategies. And again, depending on the age group, there will be a difference in how you target. So you also have to keep in mind legal and ethical considerations, especially patient confidentiality and privacy. Comply with all the healthcare regulations and stick to this thing. Finally, one word on, you have done all this, but you must also have something called as key performance indicators. These are the feedbacks and the reviews that you're getting from your public and or your target audience. And you have to devise continuous improvement strategies to make sure that you are getting where you want to be. Unless you keep revising it, it becomes practically impossible, because you're dealing with large amount of data. It becomes very impossible to know where your marketing strategy is going. So in conclusion, I would like to say, as doctors, remember, don't fall into the trap of the MBAs, stay ethical and ensure that your marketing is ethical. And remember, this is not a one-time this thing. You'd pay something and get a marketing done. It is an ongoing and a continuous nature of this effort. So have professionals do it. You should not be doing it, but you must oversee it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Marin, for that interesting topic. And as Dr. Marin would be leaving now for another presentation, if you have some questions, maybe you can entertain a couple of questions.
How aggressively would you suggest that we should look at Google reviews?
See, Google reviews is a double-headed thing, right? The good patients don't leave reviews. The bad ones do, okay? So, the idea is to be proactive. I would suggest that every good patient that you have getting, get them to leave a review because it is an average. So if you have say 100 good patients and one guy is going to give you a negative review, your rating will come down to 4.9. It doesn't matter because people only look at the number of stars. But if you, this is why I'm saying it is a professional work. You have to have one dedicated person to sit there and do the reviews because the people who are happy will never leave it. So you have to be, this is a, like we keep thinking, oh, this is like, let them give Google review. No, it doesn't happen like that. You have to have dedicated professional help for it. That is why it is only possible with these corporates. Individual practitioners is very, very difficult. I would suggest don't encourage anyone to leave a Google practicing.
I'll just share with you my experience. 2018, when I was leaving Narayan Netralaya in Bangalore, there were about 2,000 odd reviews. Today, if you check, there are 55,000 reviews, and almost all of those reviews mention a specific doctor by name, usually a staff by name, so you know that it is not some deep fake kind of thing. It is genuine reviews. And compared to other large organizations like Shankar Netralaya or Shankara, they are at 1,500 to 2,000 reviews. So this is one organization which all of you would have seen has risen in prominence. 2003, when I joined NN, it was probably 4th or 5th in Bangalore, forget Karnataka. Now it is competing at 4th or 5th in the nation. So steep increase, and among the other things that have been contributing to its success has also been the fact that these kind of reviews, there are dedicated people to look after it.
One more question, ma'am, if you mind. What do you think about the role of subsidized surgeries, free eye cams as a tool for marketing? There have been a lot of discussions going on, and it's a double-edged sword. Like, we know that people get to know about your hospital more, but again, as you told, we are undercutting our services. We are cutting the branch in which we sit.
So on a personal note, I'm really against free surgeries. Subsidized is different. But because the government is having that CASP program, so if you're getting the money from the government, try to do all the subsidized surgeries through the CASP. I think that makes sense because if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. So there's no point in reinventing the wheel, and we cannot, because this thing is a genie which should never have been put out of the jar, because once you opened it, now it will never ever go back. So you have to play with what you got. But free surgeries, free camp surgeries, I'm totally against it. Because I don't think anybody in Kerala especially is so poor that they cannot afford, a cataract surgery. But definitely, I think, yes, there is a role for subsidized surgeries.
Those of you, another point that you mentioned, ma'am, was about the MBAs and marketing. So some of you would remember in the news a few years back, a couple of doctors were suspended by the TCMC. Their photographs came up in advertisements, etc. So the ethics of advertising is you can put your picture up when you are leaving a current organization, joining a new organization, or if there is a new skill that is added or a new equipment that is come there. But just like that, to put your photograph in the newspapers, that is not
somebody
ethical.
can sue you for that. So exactly like Dr.
No, the
Bhaskar
IMA will take off your suspend your
Correct.
license for 6 months.
So this is very important. Like I said, remember that you are the leaders of the team. Don't let them dictate terms. You should know. That is why you should know what is ethical, what is not ethical. So that is very important.
Thank you, ma'am.
Suspected, say complaints of a foreign body in the conjunctiva comes at night and you look through the slit lamp and you don't see, you suspect a subepithelial erosion of the cornea and you don't take out the foreign body, and that goes to a optometrist run hospital and they say that they've taken out a foreign body. So what is your comments about it?
That's not within the purview of my talk right now, but having said that, an optometrist has no business taking out a foreign body.
No, that is true. but they employ a part-time doctor.
If that person is an ophthalmologist,
SPK was fully diagnosed by at night by doing a fluorescent staining. But the other guy takes out a foreign body and shows them there is a foreign body in your eye.
so I would suggest that you make proper notes. Everything is now about having proper documentation. So if your documentation is okay, I think nobody can hurt
And
you.
this fact about this TCMC suspending some doctors, I think it happened in Karnataka, not in Kerala, to my knowledge.
Happened in Kerala actually.
When was it?
Late 18 or early 19.
Some ophthalmologist.
Not ophthalmologist.
Okay.
Next, Dr. Sanitha, Medical Director of Vettam Eye Hospital, Molandurthi. She is specialized in pediatric ophthalmology. She'll be talking about how to build a smart hospital practice.
Okay, so this talk is about building a smart hospital. So we know that healthcare today is at crossroads. We have a lot of cost involved in healthcare, a lot of intrinsic complexities, and access to healthcare definitely has improved, which means there are more players in the marketplace. There is a lot of competition, and then patients are also very knowledgeable these days because they are well read and they have a lot of information about the disease and also even the marketing part. So there are a lot of challenges to run a hospital nowadays, and then it's very important that there is a balance. There should be a balance between quality and cost, and which is very delicate, and at the same time you cannot compromise on quality, but you cannot overspend also because it's not very sustainable as such. So an hospital is always a team. It's not one person, and a lot of people are involved in and a lot of hard work is involved in taking it forward every day. So I'll be talking about, I understand that we are all putting a lot of hard work into running an institution, whatever capacity we are in, be the medical director or the consultant or another staff. But it's time to think about doing some smart work because it solves many problems. And basically that is the premise of smart hospital. Smart hospital basically uses data and technology to enhance the quality of work, to improve patient experience and also the job satisfaction of those employees there. So we know technology has changed. It's a great game changer. All these things are now nostalgic memories, but now all these are we got in a very compact smartphone with which all these functions can be done. And life has changed and workplace also should change. I know that most of the places it has changed tremendously, but again, all these hard copies of discharge summaries, prescriptions, medical records, all these result in a lot of traffic and unwanted waiting time, lot of problems in the hospital. Now, we have to use technology, and again, like a smartphone, we should have it in control in a more compact way at our fingertips. So, first point which I would like to talk about in this regard is digitalization. I understand that most of the hospitals in our country have shifted to a digital platform through EMRs, EHRs, or are in the process of transition. So this is one of the EMRs which I use in my hospital. It's called Site EMR, no financial interest. You can have all the hospitals or all the in which you are associated with, and I can have this everything in my smartphone, and right now I can know the status of my hospital now. So this is our dashboard. We can understand how many patients have turned up, what are your appointments, which all days, how many patients are scheduled for appointments, and what is the touch time, wait time, what is your sales conversion rate in the opticals, in the pharmacy, surgery. And again, this is our patient wait queue. Again, you can, this icon indicates that this patient is being checked by the optometrist. And again, one patient here is ready to be picked by the consultant. Again, you can have a time measurement also. Yellow indicates that this patient has just cross 15 minutes, and red indicates that he has been waiting for some 30 minutes. So this 15 and 30 actually we can actually set up it can be customized. So we all have patients with chronic diseases like diabetic retinopathy, with glaucoma, walking in with a lot of medical records, perimetry, OCT, prints are not visible, and they have through the decades. So we can actually store them in our EMR, and when the patient comes, we can have all the records if you can insert. So that is also a very important tool. I found it very handy. And you can have graphs like this. This is the patient count statistics. At this visual display, you can actually see how many patients are turning up in 1 month. You can calculate the wait time. The software calculates the wait time and touch time. Touch time is the time in which the patient is engaged with the consultant or with the optometrist or doing investigations. Wait time is the time the patient is sitting idle without any of this. So actually you can have a plot of all this if you, with the help of a good EMR. And this is a very interesting graph which I would like to share with you. This is the top 5 diagnoses. So I can actually have a record of top diagnosis coming into my OPD for 1 month, 1 year. And this helps us to predict some trends even. Like viral conjunctivitis, it was so rampant these days. I can tell you that how many patients in each month, where is the dip, where is the peak, all this, if you get a graph like this. And also the revenue of your hospital in different departments can be plotted like this. So this is another interesting graph. Here you can see that this is the patient traffic. So from just a look at this will tell me that my hospital is a little, less busy between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Uniform, this is a trend. So if I'm planning, ultimately we are planning for a appointment-based system. So if I need to give an appointment for a patient, I can use this slot for the appointment, which creates a more uniform distribution of patients and better quality care without much of a rush. So many such features are available through digitalization. And one of the major problems in all the hospitals is the appointment, at the inquiry or at the registration, you will have a lot of people waiting. And you should try to change it through a proper appointment system. It could be online, WhatsApp based, or directly through the website. And also you can have, in bigger hospitals, you can have appointment kiosk like you have in your airports or railway stations. So all this would help the patient have a better experience at our hospital. The second thing which I would like to talk about is the Internet of Things. This is a technology which is widely used in many other fields, and even in medical field, ophthalmology also, it's being put to use in many ways. So basically this is a meshwork of internet-based things that share data with each other. Suppose you have a device and a sensor connected to a device. You have a high-speed internet, and all the information of this device is transferred to your smartphone. This is a very handy thing, and it can be very useful in many of the scenarios which we see in our direct hospital practice. So you can have multiple continuous streams of data which record in real time. And also you can use this for retrospective analysis as well. This is a monitor in OT which shows the temperature, humidity, all those things. Through a Wi-Fi, if I can get in my smartphone, so I have a more controlled situation. I know if there is a alert, if there is an alarm, I can understand that something has gone wrong, and I can actually attend to that. But if it is not there, I have to go there physically. I have to monitor the staff there. It creates a lot of labor. So similarly, I need a service of a ward boy. This ward boy is missing most of the things. We cannot call him, he's not reachable. In these situations, if he has a wearable gadget attached to his badge or something, we can locate the patient, locate the staff, and demand the service. So of course there are ethical issues, but this is also a possibility. For a very simple thing, this is a sanitizer, and at one of the stations, it is just going to get finished. If you have a sensor attached to that sanitizer bottle, and if it is able to show you the critical limit, that you will get an alert in your smartphone saying that the sanitizer at this particular station will be finished by today and refill. So that makes our works very much easier. And it has a lot of applications in real-time traffic assessment, zone mapping, even pilferage, theft, surgical workflow analysis, air quality monitoring, which was very important during the COVID time, and tracking repair and maintenance. So this is about IoT or Internet of Things. Third one, I would like to talk about data analytics. I think I have already explained these two graphs. One thing, it provides opportunity for improved insights, helps in human resource management, supply chain management, and remote medicine or telemedicine. Dr. Matthew will be talking about this particular topic in detail. So personally for me, smart hospital is also a green hospital. Green hospital does not simply mean that you have some greenery around, you have some potted plants inside. It is much more than that. We are talking about energy efficient systems, we are talking about renewable sources like solar or some other thing, and using sustainable materials, reducing wastage, using lean systems, making better use of natural light, proper ventilation, ergonomic positions for your staff. Such little things, but small things, but if you attend to them properly, they are going to be a big asset. If you don't attend to them, it will create problems. Sometimes you may not even realize what the problem is. And also about waste reduction. So just one slide, I think this will convey the message. Single phaco surgery, anywhere in the world, generally, the carbon footprint of a single phaco surgery is 35 kilograms of carbon dioxide equivalent of greenhouse gas emission. This is equivalent to the distance which I have traveled from my place. It's maybe from Kottayam to this convention center. If you are driving a car, that creates the same greenhouse emission, or it is the carbon dioxide emission equivalent to a typical person for 1 week. So this is a single phaco surgery costing us this much kind of carbon dioxide emissions and ecological problems. So we are doing lots and lots of cataract surgeries in one day in India. So we have a responsibility to attend to it. So in US, the average waste per surgery is much higher, but Arvind Eye Hospital have come up with a good model, and they are actually able to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions through different methodologies. There are detailed literature regarding that. I hope that all of us also can make small changes in this regard, because cumulatively it creates an impact. So benefits of a smart hospital, of course, it increases operational efficiency, reduces physical, this donkey kind of work, and we are able to focus more on patient care. And for patients, it reduces the waiting time. They get better quality of care, smoother process, and altogether it makes a better patient experience. There are barriers, but basically there are barriers in any change, whether it is NABH accreditation or some other whatever. So as a team, you can always get through these barriers, but basic thing is you have to reinvent the process, and the resistance to change requires a lot of learning and conviction and work culture modification. First thing I would like to say is organizational commitment to this change is very important. You need to be the leader, you need to be a persistent leader, you have to walk the entire way. So smart hospital, I'm not talking about some high-funda devices, big internet connections, fast connections, and doing some weird stuff. Actually, we are talking about very simple thing like rethinking the care process, re-evaluating and improving your management systems and infrastructure to modify your process of running the hospital and building a smart hospital. And it's always a work in progress. You can always be smarter than yourself at any point of time. And one more thing, I put this slide, don't be taken away, like there is no substitute for hard work. Smart work doesn't mean that we are just not doing hard work. Smart work just means that we are doing hard work in the right direction. And I believe that it will make a difference. And thank you for your patient listening. If you have some questions, we can do it now. Or
I have a comment on that thing about Internet of Things. I am an NABH assessor, and one of the assessments, OT scrub station water culture had come positive. But with so much of the data that was being collected, they had filed this positive result also and just kept it with the rest of it. Subsequently, surgeries were happening, at which point of time the surgeon was scrubbing with this coliform positive water and then coming into the OT. So the problem is there is too much of information, too much of data. And when you do a IoT kind of thing, you are able to set limits. Let us say your temperature requirement is 21 plus or minus 3. That is what is NABH requirement. As long as it is 21 plus or minus 3 degrees centigrade, this will not trouble you. This will not escalate. You can then have a system whereby it will go to the facility manager or the maintenance person at the first level. But if there is a recurrence, you can then have it escalated from the facility manager to in charge, or if it is a small unit, single individual hospital, then it can escalate to the owner proprietor. So as long as things are moving in the right direction, these devices will not trouble you. Only those things that need to come to your attention will come to your attention. Today, my staff bring a sheaf of papers, 25, 30 of them every month. Sir, this is water culture report, air culture report, and surface culture report. You have to look at each of them. If you're busy, you miss. Some assessor sometime will catch you. However much you concentrate, all these mundane routine activities will create a potential for human error. So having this automated will ensure that human energy is directed to things that need attention, that need focus. Rest of it can be ignored.
The point is well taken, sir. One more thing is that I think you can have a system of increasing the accountability within the employees. Like if one person is not doing a particular job assigned to him within a turnaround time, actually there can be alerts going to the superior, and then you can actually solve the problem also.
Yeah. So like for example, the wait time. Now let us say one individual staff in your hospital or consultant in your hospital, you notice that the patient's wait time for that individual is very high. But if at that time you are able to see that the person is occupied with another patient, that is a justified wait time.
Right.
Okay. But if the person is not occupied at that point of time and the patient wait time is high, then you can have an alert coming to you saying that there is something, this needs to be investigated. Okay. So a floor manager could look at what your optometrist is doing at that point of time, or your medical superintendent can look at what is happening to the consultant concerned. But so all huge amount of data is there. The data needs to be taken in the context of not just one isolated thing, but in the larger picture. So wait times in the context of, is the person busy or not? Very simple example.
Okay. In this context, I would like to invite Dr. Matthew Kurian to present his next topic on data analytics. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanita, for this opportunity. And now that Dr. Merin is not here, I am one of those MBAs. I did an MBA from IIM Bangalore while I was working at Narayanethralaya. Also have had an opportunity to become an NABH assessor, like I said, and it helps me to look at how other hospitals function, and everything is based on data. So the top picture here, this is how most of us receive data. Some of us are lucky enough to get this kind of a little bit sorted data. Occasional few get it in these nice things. But what you want is something where you can make some sense out of it, have a story, or make it actionable. My financial disclosure is that during 2 years or 3 years of COVID, I had a lot of free time and helped build this EMR, which is called Site EMR. It came from a long frustration of 10 plus years of working with different types of EMRs at various prior hospitals. So it's got basic electronic medical records, which is just the patient record. You can have a larger hospital management system. The ERP is like everything that can be done in the hospital is done paperless. NABH module is available in site of, and site is not ophthalmology, it is also software integrated global healthcare technologies. So let's have an audience poll. Have any of you used data-driven decision making? Yes, no. Slept during biostatistics classes, come on. All right, biostatistics is what statistical techniques applied to biology, BP, temperature, blah, blah. When it comes into using the same tests for data related to a business, it is called analytics. Okay. How many of you used Google Maps? That's predictive analysis, that is data analytics. Okay. So the dirty part of the analytics, the mathematics involved there is taken out. You get the result. You are given an option from my house to this place 1 hour 47 minutes, but I pay so much toll, 2 hour 4 minutes with similar toll, 1 hour 55 minutes, this is very early in the morning without tolls. Which route do you want to take? Have you looked at the weather forecast? Data analytics. And this is number of data points so much higher and so much more complex than that is generated in even the largest eye hospital or largest multi-specialty hospital in the world. Probably more complex than all the specialty hospitals together. So this is what is called as big data, where there is huge amount of volume, huge variety, data comes in very, very fast. This is the most important thing. Have you heard of GIGO? In any computational thing, garbage in, garbage out. Okay. So if your big data is not accurate, whatever decisions or whatever predictive analysis comes out of it is garbage, and you will be basically wasting your time. And you need to know how useful it will be. It needs to be actionable. Why does this data become so big? So this is the Intelligence and Research Insight. So American Academy of Ophthalmology has got this registry, which is now in 2021 has about 50 million patient visits, individual patients. Now the number of patients visits, some of them 2, 3 times, 10 times, so is 350 million patient visits. Now even if you just take right eye, left eye, sphere, cylinder, axis, that is 10 data points for each of these 350 million visits. So that is where it has this compounding effect, and if you add IOP and other data to it, it becomes huge. It becomes so enormous that it is not possible to make any sense of it unless it is done in the background, like how a Google map does it and gives you an output which you can make sense of it. The important thing is that what goes into this database has to be accurate. Is only the Americans doing it? No. We have Anthony Vipin Das, who developed LV Prasad's software. It's called Smart EMR, and they've got so many publications in 2023 itself. Forget the title there, but look at the keywords: big data, electronic medical records. Okay, so it's all coming from inside their system. So this Dr. Sanita has shown, you have to have standardized. So like, I write SIMC, you write immature cataract, somebody else writes senile immature cataract. Okay, mature cataract, hypermature cataract, Morgagnian, all of them different meanings. Some of them are similar meanings. So restrict yourself to standardized ICD based. ICD-10 is out, ICD-11 is coming now, and we are in the process of migrating to ICD-11, hopefully in a seamless manner so that the users will not have a problem with it. And template based, okay, so that you ask some investigations which is according to guidelines. You can have a prescription which is according to your formulary, and you advise some treatment based on that. And when you want to do grading, you have an option of grading it according to prepared templates over there, so that there is a consistency between different people doing the same job. How lovely it would be that when you are looking at a biometry, there is a warning which comes to you. This is an axial hyperopia patient. Consider IV mannitol or sodium hyaluronate during surgery. You're planning for multifocal IOL. Automatic reminder comes to you to get a dry eye workup done, and that's part of the questionnaire. OPD wait times, they have been able in Arvind Madurai. This is the PhD work of this gentleman Ganesh Babu. 15% accuracy on more than 85% of the days. And because of that predictive ability, they have put in a method to reduce the peak wait time, which is by 10 o'clock, the maximum number of patients come in, and by 3 o'clock, that load goes out. So, if there is no patient already waiting in the OPD at 10 o'clock, then the fresh patients coming in during the peak rush hour are seen very rapidly. So, all the patients who are there have to be seen and disposed 0 by 10 o'clock. That is the plan. Admin dashboard, it gives you a fair amount of information, some of which Sanita has touched on. But critical here is sales conversion. You are prescribing glasses left, right, and center, but your opticals is receiving what % of it? How many of those convert into revenue for you? You are prescribing medicines. How many of those medicines are bought in your pharmacy? So if this is real data from Dr. Sanita's clinic, if you had to take a decision over here, would you focus on your pharmacy or spectacles? You are having much less sales conversion in spectacles. So, is it frames? Is it the nature of the salesperson there? Whatever. That is analytics and how it can. This is a CITMR audit dashboard which talks about all the things that are required: initial wait time, patient feedback, patient satisfaction, the sentinel events, clinical, non-clinical, falls, etc. Then, I'm sorry, it's a little bit faded out. And you have the employee satisfaction rate, attrition rate, leaves, absenteeism. You have your biomedical thing, which is critical equipment downtime, OT utilization time, bed occupancy rate. All these things, most hospitals will, NABH hospitals will have a team of people who are going to cost, each of whom are going to cost 15,000-20,000 rupees per month to collect this data and put it into a tabular column. This is going to happen automatically at the background.
Excuse me, sir. Can you please wrap up your presentation? We have one more talk.
Okay. Finally, we can monitor all these services, and that will help to reach a break-even point. Okay. Remember that there is a lot of fixed costs and the variable costs. Totally, the two of them contribute to the revenue. So break-even point is where the income is matching the sum of fixed costs to the variable costs, and beyond that is profit. So financial metrics are there, and you have return on investment and you have return on equity. Thank you. With this, I conclude my talk. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. For the sake of time, we'll keep the discussion towards the last if you have time. And I invite Dr. Charu Rajendran, consultant ophthalmologist at Vettam Eye Hospital, Mulanthuruthy, to talk regarding bridging the gaps in patient interaction.
I'll be talking about smart communication. It's a soft skill which is really required for a smart hospital practice. So what we are actually trying to do is communicate as much information as possible to the patient with as little time as we can get. So something that what I'm going to do in the next 12 minutes. So what are we targeting, or what are we wanting to achieve with trying to do or improve this patient-doctor interaction or communication? The first thing is we want to increase our approachability. Nowadays, patients have a lot of options. They have a lot of hospitals. So what we want to do is give them a good first impression so that they would want to come back to us. So be warm and welcoming, giving them a comfort and ease to interact with us so that they feel like they are okay and in reliable hands. That's approachability. Second thing is reliability. We want them to feel that we are a reliable source of information, that we will not take them for a ride, that they can trust us, and that we have their best interests in our minds. And third thing is accessibility. Something like, we just give a glass prescription and leave the patient, or we just give a drug and ask them to put it for 1 week and that's it. But following them up and saying that, see, this glass prescription will change in the next 2 years because it's presbyopic, it'll increase. So after 2 years, you can just come in and we can recheck and give you the new. So that followability, the fact that the patient feels that, okay, whatever, if I have any issue with it, I can always come back. So that accessibility, that's important. So what are the different modes of communication in a hospital? First thing is verbal, which is very obvious. Second thing is written. So if we have a smart hospital practice, you want to reduce the waiting time of patients who are in the waiting room, but you want to give enough chair time to the patient who is inside your cabin. So what you want to do is give them as much information. So if I have, say, most common diagnosis we have in OPD, conjunctivitis, you want to tell the patient the modes of transmission. You want to educate them regarding the fact that they need to take care of certain complications like, corneal SPKs and all that stuff. They need to come in for follow-up. But there's a limited amount of time, and you need to do this for every conjunctivitis patient. So if you have written pamphlets for these, you hand over the patient the pamphlet, you tell them that please go through it. And after you go through it, you can come back to me and ask any doubts you have. You can clear it with me. In the meantime, you can get the medicines from the pharmacy. And at that time, you can cater to another patient. So this is the smart hospital practice we are talking about. And then you have non-verbal. So what is non-verbal? We don't give enough stress to non-verbal mode of communication. You have to understand that only 7% of the words that we actually speak is communicating what we want to communicate to the patient. 38% of it comes through the tone of voice. So if you're saying, please come in after 5 days. So just saying it is not the thing. It's just like a written typed message. But when you have that tone of voice, a voice message, it gives you much more information. You know that, the doctor is really stressing on the fact that I should be there within 5 days or after 5 days. So that means that the doctor wants to see me. And then our body language, how we communicate it to the patient. So first thing is eye contact. Eye contact can establish a lot of things. You can, it shows the respect that you have towards the patient who's sitting in front of you. The fact that you are interested in listening to what the patient wants to talk. And also the fact that you are confident in the treatment that you're giving, or you're confident in what you're talking. So instead of looking elsewhere, look directly into the patient's eye and talk to them. Second thing is facial expression. How you hold yourself in front of the patient. Are you having a welcoming smile or a pleasant face? Or are you having a frustrated, exhausted? The thing is, by the end of the day, yes, you will be exhausted, you will be frustrated because you have seen so many patients. For that patient, you are the one doctor. So you have to be pleasant and approachable to even that 100th patient who comes to the hospital. Then the gestures, are you having a respectable, gesture? Are you having an intimidating gesture? Or even your posture. Are you having a laid back or relaxed posture? Or are you having a more alert and upright posture? That all of this actually communicates a lot of things to that patient with just, your non-verbal communication. Going to the verbal communication, address each patient by name.
This actually helps in two ways. One thing is it minimizes errors. You may be having another patient's file open, but another patient may be coming in. And so when you say, okay, Charu Rajendran, and they will say, no, I'm Sophie. Okay. Immediately you say, I'm sorry, I'll take the next file, open that patient's file and treat the patient, and then get to the staff and ask what happened, what was the mishap. This patient was next in line, but then you send in another patient. So this way, it minimizes errors. Second thing is that it also helps in the patient feeling like it's like a welcome gesture. You're addressing them by name, they also feel happy that you've called them by name. Second thing is instruct them properly while examining them, because most of them, they have come to the hospital for the first time. They don't know how to position themselves, where to look when they are being examined. So that also is important. Explaining the nature of the disease or the problem at hand, using words which are very simple for them to understand. Explain what are the options for treatment that they have, and explain what the patient can do to minimize That's important, because when you educate the patient, that they themselves can understand what they can do to minimize complications. Then, whatever concerns they have, try to give it in small bits of information like ask and tell. Let them ask the questions and you tell them the answers to that. Reassure them that we are always available whenever they need us, and ask them if they are better on follow-up. This will help in two ways. If you ask the patient if they are better, they feel like we are asking them a feedback regarding our treatment. So that the patient will feel happy about it. Second thing is that we may have not seen the patient on the first visit. So we also get to know whether the first visit they have improved or whether they are not improved. In that case, are we missing out something, or does the patient need more reassurance? Then never trivialize their symptoms, and sometimes you need to scare the patients if the patient is not compliant with the medications and you know the complications. You may have to just tell them, be more firm with them. Active listening, definitely listening to what they have to say without interrupting them in between, but asking them open-ended questions in between so that you clear your doubts as well. Empathize with their situation and understanding their concerns, putting yourself in their shoes and understanding what it is that is troubling them. The certain mental gymnastics we have to do as doctors is, we have to first assess the patient's socioeconomic background, educational background, to understand how much of information they may already be having. And cater to their...
Charu, can you please conclude?
Okay, so we have to cater to their level in order to if we have to get to their level so that we can treat them properly and assess them properly. And also understand their need for depth of information and explore their emotional response to all the new information we may be giving. It may be too overwhelming for them. So understand what it is at their level that we need to cater, and then accordingly give them information which is required. So yeah, I would like to...
That was a very good, exhaustive presentation on patient communication. For the sake of time, we had to cut it short. I'm very sorry for that. And thank you all for your patient hearing. I hope that you have enjoyed, and that would make our practice a bit more better. I thank my co-instructors, and I really apologize for the next co-instructor for we have taken 1 minute extra. Sorry for that. Thank you.